good morning to everyone. Let me just make sure we're live. Yeah, I think we are. For some reason, it's not coming up on the TV. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we're live. Good morning, everybody. Hope you all had... God damn it. Hope you all had a nice Saturday. My original picks didn't do great Saturday, but we made some of it back. I had the Mavericks, which covered. And then we grabbed the Knicks live at plus 172, which they came back and won immediately. So actually financially wasn't a bad day for me. College football playoffs, I went 2-3 in my picks, and then 0-2 in the NFL. So not a great football day, which makes back-to-back bad football days because Friday night wasn't great for me either. I was having a great week, back-to-back rough days on the gridiron. But we got NFL Sunday. I have so much action open right now. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong with all the bets I have open? I have like 16 bets open right now. Steve, how was your week?
Good. I'm ready to roll. I didn't love the slate as much today in the NFL, but I think we got some winners. So we'll see where we're at. Hopefully we got some head-to-head matchups here between us four.
I didn't look at your picks. I literally just hit copy and sent it, so I'm going to find out as we're going through. Okay. I know Prop Beaver liked one of yours because he said, "Oh, I think he's on."
We'll talk about in the Colts game, but
Colts game. Okay, let's get into it with a real banger. Cleveland, Cincinnati. I am on the Browns. Unfortunately, I got a +9, and you can now get an expensive +10. So I did not get the best of the number here, but let me scroll to my notes. Browns, Bengals. My games are out of order. Here we go. So I actually like Cleveland to run the ball a little bit in this game. Jerome Ford has been much better than Nick Chubb this year. Whether it's the injury, whether he hasn't seen a lot of stacked boxes, whatever the reasoning is that you want to slap to that, Jerome Ford has been the more efficient runner of the football. I like Cleveland to run the ball. Cincinnati's missing 3 of their starting defensive front 7. The Browns weren't able to run on Cincinnati in their first matchup, but all 3 of those guys played. Logan Wilson, Sam Hubbard, Sheldon Rankins all played in that game. All 3 are now out for Cincinnati. DTR only adds to the rushing attack, and that's kind of what I'm thinking when I'm looking at this game. These two teams always played low-scoring games. The last 6 games have been 45 points or less. Some of them have been really low-scoring. Joe Burrow isn't that great against Cleveland's defense. The pass rush, the man coverage, it's just not Joe Burrow's forte. If you remember, the last time these guys played, which was probably about month and a half ago, the final score was 21-14 Cincinnati. Cincinnati scored a touch. 7 of their points came on the opening kickoff return. They took the kickback for a touchdown. So Cincinnati's offense only scored 14 points in the entire game. So, look, that was in Cleveland. This one's at home in Cincinnati, maybe a little more favorable for Joe Burrow. But he struggles against this defense, and this Browns defense is playing really well right now. Patrick Mahomes really struggled the other day. I mean, the Browns offense couldn't do anything, which is why the Chiefs still won and covered, but Mahomes had a really rough-looking day. Cleveland's playing some great defense right now. So, I mean, I think 9.5 or even 10, I think that's a crazy number to lay. Look, DTR, not a great thrower of the football, but like I said, I think Cleveland's going to come out, run the ball. I think they're going to be able to move the chains. Not a great matchup for Joe Burrow. I think this finishes, let's say, 24-19 Cincinnati. Cleveland covers.
All right. I mean, sidewise, this is one of those games where it's like, how do you lay 9 or 10 with the Bengals and that defense, and especially in a divisional game? And then also, how do you just bet any money on the Browns? I'm trying to make a rule for myself these last few weeks to not bet on terrible teams. I've been doing it enough this year. But sidewise, I'd probably have to lean with what Kyle said. But I only have one best bet in this game. It's a half unit, but it's Burrow to throw 3+ touchdowns, plus 142. This guy's probably like a league MVP candidate right now if their team doesn't suck. But a wild stat, he's already done this in 6 straight games now. So for me, I mean, this guy is just throwing the ball a ton. The weaker run game, they're not getting a lot of rushing touchdowns or a high-volume passing attack, obviously. I know he struggles a little bit versus Cleveland. But again, he's done this in 6 straight. He could still struggle and still somehow throw 3 touchdowns. average matchup for passing touchdowns. So I'm going to sprinkle on Joe Cool here. Sidewise, it was just too hard for me. But I will say, if you're looking at totals, just one trend. The last 5 Cincy home games have an average score of 70 points per game. 70. Now, I know this is a divisional game. These guys know each other. 47 total. Take that for what it is. But, yeah, that's all I got for this one.
Yeah, the Bengals at home overs have almost been automatic. So I completely get if you're betting an over in this game. I mean, that being said, these two teams are always low scoring. The last 6 games, 35, 45, 27, 33, 45, 37. So the last 6 games have all stayed way under this number, these two teams. And they played a low scoring game in Cleveland earlier in this year. So I could see arguments for both the over and the under. Oh, and I do have Dorian Thompson-Robinson, anytime touchdown scorer. We threw this in the voice chat. We did that down in the voice chat last night. It's a small bet. I think he's going to run the ball in Cincinnati as well from the quarterback position. I think Cleveland's going to be running the ball all around. DTR has never scored a touchdown in his NFL career, and I think he gets one today. I believe in week 2 or 3, whenever that was, we put Mahomes to score a touchdown in because Cincinnati had struggled against scrambling quarterbacks last year, I believe. I'm not going to pretend like there's a whole lot of thought going into this anytime touchdown, but I do have this. I did bet this.
That was a 2 a.m. You know what? I got to bet something. I'm going to bet it.
yeah. It was the voice chat, man. Like,
they get you riled up.
Yeah, they get you riled up.
I get it. Beaver, go ahead. I played Jamar Chase over receiving yards. I'm going to continue to play him probably the rest of the year because all he does is keep on hitting this. He's hit it in 4 of the last 5, and all of his numbers get significantly better when T. Higgins is in the lineup. So I'm just going to continue to pick on Chase and playing his yards over. I don't hear Beaver.
I muted myself accidentally. So basically what I did in this game is I decided that I just wanted the cheapest way of fading, I guess, one of the worst quarterbacks to ever touch a football field. And obviously now I'm not talking about Joe Burrow. I'm talking about DTR. There's some compelling points. So Browns bet here. I think if I were playing it by the book, that's the side I'd have to lean. But there's many avenues to an under here with simply being a Bengals win. I mean, Burrow's unders have been a cash cow at this number. He's flying under his last 12 of 17 victories, averaging just 257 yards per game. That's compared to soaring over his last 6 of 7 losses, averaging 340 yards per game. So basically an 80-yard difference right there. DTR through 12 appearances, 1 TD, 7 interceptions, 3.7 yards per attempt, and a 42 pass rating. I mean, if the Bengals season wants to be lost at the hands of that, that's completely fine with me. But the Browns are a heinous 5-15 against the spread in their last 20 meetings against Cincy. And I don't really think Burrow needs to or will do all that well here in a Bengals win. I mean, the matchup's tough for him. Cleveland blitzes, they run man, they run cover 1, and they run single high, all at top 10 rates in the league. Burrow sees a dip in production against all those splits. In his last 4 starts against Cleveland, he only has a 58 completion percentage, 5.9 yards per attempt, and an 84 passer rating, but he still has an impressive 6-2 touchdown to interception ratio. More importantly, in those starts, 4-0 to our passing yards under. We've also seen that Cleveland defense actually look pretty damn good the last 2 games. They held the Chiefs and Steelers to less than 180 passing yards in each after regularly being a punching bag for passing yards overs this entire season. So, yeah, I'm going with the passing yards under on Burrow there. I think there's many avenues. And obviously, Toast Graphic is wrong on the screen right now, but he had Chase receiving yards.
Doesn't Chase suck against the Browns?
I don't worry about that.
Oh, you don't worry about that?
He's not a worrier.
No, the dude's going for the triple crown of receiving, and I'm supposed to be like, oh, yep, he's going to be so bad this week because he's never played good against the Browns.
His last 3 games against the Browns, 55 yards, 19 yards, 39 yards.
He's going to have like 7 catches for 90 yards. Just let you guys know.
Bad bet from Toast.
No.
Next up.
Another little sprinkle, by the way, if you like DTR to not throw the ball well, is his under pass yards. It was over 200, I think, and now it's at 191, though, so it has gone down. But, yeah.
Impressive.
Next up, Rams against the New York Football Jets. Kind of a battle of you got to try to figure out who's more motivated here. On one hand, you have the Rams, and they're playing for a playoff berth. Pretty serious shit, right? On the other hand, you have Aaron Rodgers playing to shut Ryan Clark up. I'm not sure.
Other serious shit.
I don't know. And I know that's taken as a joke, but seriously, Rodgers is the type of guy that's like, I'm going to throw 4 touchdowns to shut this guy up. And you know what? We've seen it. The last 2 games, Rodgers is going nuclear. Back-to-back games where the Jets' passing offense is looking, I guess, kind of like the Jets' passing offense we were maybe expecting to see for most of the season. Back-to-back games, the Jets are putting up huge numbers through the air. They're airing it out, man. And it's not that this – a couple people in the voice chat were saying, oh, this Rams defense is trash. They really haven't been that bad. They're not a good defense, but – the Eagles lit them up. The Bills lit them up. It's a couple of great offenses. The Rams defense really hasn't been that bad, but they are susceptible to big plays downfield. They're 27th in DVOA against the deep pass. The Jets have made it clear. Like, dude, the scores of the last 2 games are like 32-25, 33-26. I think the Jets are in. Hey, their defense is missing pieces. Let's have some shootouts. So I'm on the over. Because like I said, the Rams are susceptible to the deep pass, and I do think there's going to be opportunities for Rodgers to continue his quest to silence Ryan Clark and make some big throws in this game. And on the other side, Jets, no CJ Mosley on the field at linebacker. Quinnen Williams hasn't practiced all week either. If Quinnen Williams does, I like this either way, but if Quinnen Williams doesn't play also, the Rams are going to average 5.5 yards per carry. This is already a Jets defense that I don't trust against the run to begin with. Take out C.J. Mosley. I really don't trust him against the run. Take out Quinnen Williams. Rams, Kyren Williams, Blake Corum, whoever's getting the ball is going to do whatever they want. So I don't love the fact that I'm on an over and I'm expecting the Rams to run the football a lot. Don't love that. And I also don't like how the Jets run a lot of man coverage, and Matt Stafford, not the best numbers against man coverage, not the best numbers against cover 1. So it's actually not even a great matchup for Stafford. But I expect the Rams to have no problems whatsoever running the football in this game. So give me the over.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad look. I don't have much to say. Just real quick. For me, it seems a little trappy with the Rams, and not to mention it's a tough spot here. They're coming off a primetime game versus the divisional rival 49ers. They have the Cardinals next week, and now they have to travel cross country in the middle of it. Yes, the Rams are the better team, but I'm going to say this: in my years of gambling, sometimes just betting on the team that needs to win more doesn't always work out. Sometimes you get that team they're just playing free and loose. Now, there's an example later we'll talk about of a team that has just given up, in my opinion. Some teams do that, but this Jets team is not it. Like Kyle said, the offense is playing better. I probably like the over after listening to Kyle, but if I had to pick a side, I'm going with the Jets +3. It's ugly. It's disgusting, but that's where I'm at. I don't have a best bet, though.
Toast is with you, man. He's on the same thing.
Hell yeah. I don't understand how we can trust this Rams team traveling across the country playing outdoors. Look at the games that they've played outdoors this season away from home. They lost to Detroit. They lost to Arizona. They lost to Chicago by 18. 2 of those games were indoors. Not to mention the fact the game against New England, they won by 6. That was an outdoor game. San Francisco by 6. I just don't feel like this Rams team is very good outdoors. You talked about the man coverage for Stafford, not to mention the fact Jabbo touched on it, the terrible spot that the Rams are in as well. The Jets are playing really well right now. Rodgers is 7-2 ATS as a home underdog in his career. And it's not like this Rams defense is playing fantastic. Hold on, let me see. 27th in EPA per play, so it's not like they're not even like halfway through the league right now. So I'm not in a spot where I can lay over or I got 3.5, but regardless, 3 with the Rams across the country in a Rodgers FU game. So yeah, I played the Jets and I kind of like it a lot.
What about our resident Jets beat writer, Prop Beaver?
I guess I'm joining in on the dumpster fire here. I'm not gonna actually back the Jets as a whole. I'm done with that. That's dead and gone. But I will back the only Jet on the team I respect, I love and adore, Mr. Garrett Wilson. He's openly frustrated with his lack of production since Adams has come on board. The trade rumors are swirling hard. He's gotten asked if he wants to leave his team. His camp is essentially leaking that he wants to leave the team after this season. It makes sense. Started off the game on a heater last week, and guess what? Second half, completely ignored. Devontae Adams paces his way towards 200-plus yards. So I'm rolling with the squeaky wheel narrative here, as the Jets pretty much have nothing to play for besides morale, and this is a hell of a matchup for him if he gets the volume. Since Adams joined, 67% of Wilson's routes have come out wide, and the Rams are one of the worst defenses this year defending targets out wide. In the slot, they're 4th in yards per out run allowed, 2nd in first downs per out run allowed, so they're excellent at defending the slot. But then you look at them defending targets out wide, they're 31st in yards per out run, 29th in first downs per out run. So Devontae's more the slot guy, Garrett's more the guy out wide. And on top of that, we got the narrative working. I think we see those targets. On top of that, the Rams defense also leans on zone at a top 10 rate. While it's clear that Adams has become the alpha overall in this offense, Wilson still the main target earner against zone. First in air yard share, first in first read target share, first in first downs per out run. We got the total at 46.5 in this one. The books are putting his yards mark at something that he's flown under his last 4 or 5 games. So yeah, I just anticipate that with a possible script of the Jets trailing late, the total high in this one, that Garrett Wilson's going to get it done.
Next, we spent entirely too much.
The comments have made my bet almost into a 2-unit bet. I'm even more confident now.
Who was it, Steez?
It's literally everybody. Rams all day. The Rams. Jets suck. Durka. Jets are dead. Jets should have been +7. I still would have taken the Rams.
Steez is on the Rams.
There you go.
Eagles, Washington. I have a bet in this one. I have Washington team total under 21.5. I like the bet. It's not one of my top bets or anything. I would never put a team total as a favorite bet because not everyone is able to bet them. But yeah, I like this one. Watch the team total under 21.5. I bet this earlier in the week. I'm not sure if you could still get it. I think it might be 20.5 now. But so obviously the Eagles have been steamrolling everybody. You don't need me to tell you that. These two teams just played, I think it was 4 weeks ago. The Eagles had no problems running the football. Saquon Barkley had like 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had no problems running the ball in this Washington Commanders team. So why are things going to be different in that respect? Well, if you look at Washington, they've really shored things up in the defensive front. In fact, 4 of their last 5 games have been lights out against the run. The only outlier is that Eagles game. They've been playing great defense against the run. Now, stopping the Eagles rushing attack is a different kind of thing. Like, just because they're playing great defense against the run against the Steelers or the Cowboys doesn't mean you can stop the Eagles. But I do think they are able to put up a fight here, and I actually think they can make the Eagles offense work for it a little bit. That's why I didn't pull the trigger on that Eagles -3 early in the week. If you watch the YouTube video, I should have, because the shit's at 4 now. So I should have, but that's why I was hesitant to pull the trigger on the Eagles -3. But on the other side, I'm willing to back the Eagles defense here. This defense is on another planet right now. In the last, let's just say 2 months, pretty much since the Eagles bye week in week 5, the Eagles have been the best defense in the NFL, and I don't even think there's an argument on that. They've been the best defense in the NFL since week 5. Check this out. So the Eagles' last 6 games, these are their points they've allowed. 6, 18, 20, 19, 16, 13. The Commanders' team total over is at 21.5. The Eagles haven't allowed anyone to score over 20 in 3 months. No, that's not exactly true. The Jags scored a late touchdown back in October to get to 23 and backdoor cover. So since the bye week, the Eagles have allowed one team to score more than 20 points. It was Jacksonville on a late touchdown when they were up double digits. So it was a backdoor cover from Jacksonville to get up to 23. The Commanders team total at 21.5, and nobody has scored that. This Eagles defense went into Baltimore, held the Ravens to 19. Baltimore couldn't do anything in that game. And Washington, the offense, I'm not a Jaden Daniels hater, nothing like that. But, I mean, they're trending in the wrong direction, whether it's teams now have film on Jaden Daniels and what Cliff Kingsbury is trying to do, whether it's Jaden Daniels' rib injury. That could be another thing you throw in there. Who knows the exact reason for it? But no question that the Washington Commanders offense is trending in the wrong direction. If you actually take a look at the Washington Commanders schedule, you can make an argument that they haven't looked great since Carolina in week 7. Remember, they beat the Bears on a Hail Mary. They should have lost to the Bears. The Giants played them tough, 27-22. After that, they lost 3 games in a row. You had that Titans game where they were gifted 28 points in the first freaking quarter. I don't think Washington's very good right now, especially offensively. So I trust the Eagles defense here.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on the Commanders. They haven't played good football in a long time. It's actually crazy when you look at it. I got 2 best bets in this game. 2 player props. One kind of goes with what he's saying. Terry McLaurin under 62.5 receiving yards. He's had a good season. This line opened up around 70, I believe. and now it's low 60s. It might be under 60 by now, but he's had a great season. Obviously, the matchup is where it's all about, though. They've been this is one of the toughest matchups you can have. So if you're just a hit rate person, McLaurin under this line in 3 of 10 games, you're not going to like it. Under in 1 of the last 5. The last 2 games, 73 yards in both games. So you can see that he's going over this pretty consistently, but a lot of it is big plays. But he also only averaged around 6 targets per game. So he's not a guy that's getting 12 targets or anything like that. He's a guy that goes down the field. But now you're facing the Eagles. They allow the fewest passing yards in the NFL by far, 173 yards. They probably have the best secondary with pass rush combo in the entire NFL right now. This young secondary is going to probably lock them down like they do everybody else. McLaurin last game against Philly, that was the one under. How about 1 catch on 2 targets for 10 yards? It is going to be tough for him. And in fact, McLaurin has not gone over this line in the last 8 of the last 10 games versus top 10 defenses, averaging only 43 yards per game. Obviously, Eagles are number 1 right now. They're unbelievable. Jalen Carter, by the way, can look like an absolute Hall of Famer on some plays. He's on something special for sure. So it's just all about matchup here. McLaurin's had a good season, but I just don't see him getting loose here in this one. So give me McLaurin under. Second one, Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. The fact that I got minus 120 on it doesn't make sense because he's scoring all the time. 1+ touchdown in 8 of his last 9 games, 2+ TDs in 3 of those. This line should probably not be playable everywhere, but he has a higher red zone rush share than Saquon Barkley, 43.8% to 41.1%. We know Jalen Hurts is the goal line back. So give me Hurts for a touchdown and then McLaurin to just have a rough game here and stay under.
If you guys want, anyone is placing an SGP or wants something weird to throw in there, I think Jalen Hurts to throw an interception is worth a look as well. I know he hasn't thrown a ton of picks, but Washington last few weeks, they are really ramping up the man coverage. Remember, this is a Dan Quinn defense. We knew this man coverage was coming eventually. We saw what he did with Dallas last year. And now that Lattimore's on the field, I expect that to keep increasing. They're running more and more man coverage every single week. Jalen Hurts has great numbers against man coverage, but his turnover-worthy play rate skyrockets. He's like 41st in turnover-worthy play rate against man coverage. So I think Hurts might throw a pick in this one.
Hey, real quick, also, do you guys when you guys watch the Commanders, do you guys think it's Kingsbury or Jaden Daniels? Because it seems like a lot of teams figure out Kingsbury's offense eventually.
I think a combination of both. I think just coming into the season, no one knew what to expect on both fronts. So I think they just caught everyone off guard, and now that everyone's like, okay, I see what they're trying to do, and I see how we can maybe put a game plan on to give them some problems. Prop Beaver.
Yeah, probably my lightest bet of the day, but I would just lay the 4 with Philly at this point. I think they're the flat out better team. The Commanders, I think, are just a bit overvalued from their early season success at this point. I still think they're riding that out. Obviously, they add Marcus Lattimore to the secondary, but I mean, did you see the second half of that Saints game last week? I mean, Spencer Rattler and the boys were flat out kicking that defense's ass. It was pathetic. Kendre Miller, we thought that we were seeing an improved Washington Commanders rush defense. Kendre Miller was running all over them in the second half of that game. Now you got Saquon Barkley coming into this one. I know there's a bit of concern with A.J. Brown's ankle injury, but I like the matchup for Jalen Hurts. As Commanders' pass defense is unable to create pressure, so if you can't pressure Hurts, he's going to do pretty damn well against you. And on the other side, we're starting to see that pressure is getting to Jaden Daniels, and that's the bread and butter of this Eagles defense right now. On top of that, I mean, you mentioned Cliff Kingsbury. Kingsbury refuses to move Terry McLaurin around the field. He lines up on the field at, I think, like 70%. On the left side, I mean, it's just going to be Quinion Mitchell on him all day. I think it's going to be really tough for the Commanders to move the ball. And, yeah, so I just lay it with Philly, half unit. That's it.
Toast.
And for me, this is literally one of the only games I didn't have a bet on. You can't get to Jake Elliott. I know a lot of people are asking me for kicking props. Can't bet Jake Elliott. His field goals are over 1.5 at plus 100, and same with his kicking points. And I don't know, Zane Gonzalez is not a guy you want to put your money on. So it's just an overall pass for me.
Next. What's next? Arizona. I have a bet in this game. One of my smallest bets of the day. It honestly. If the Cardinals' offensive line was healthy, and I knew that they were going to have everyone out there, except Hernandez, because he's been hurt. The Hernandez injury is not new for Arizona at right guard. He's been out. But they're now missing Paris Johnson Jr. at left tackle. Looks like Evan Brown, the left guard, might not play either. He hasn't practiced. So there's a chance the Cardinals could be missing 3 starters on the offensive line. And the reason that's such a situation for me is everything I like about the Cardinals in this matchup. I have a small bet on Cardinals minus 4.5, so you could put that up. Everything I like about the Cardinals in this matchup is dependent on the offensive line. What do I like about the Cardinals in this matchup? They should have no problems running the football. This is a team that wants to run the ball to James Conner. Carolina's run defense right now, it might be the worst thing that's ever existed in the NFL. I don't know if we've ever seen such a small amount of production against the run. Check this out. In their last 6 games, Carolina, they're allowing 5.72 yards per carry, over 198 rushing yards per game. That's Purdue in the Big Ten type shit right there. Like, that's terrible. This Panthers run defense is the worst thing I've ever heard of. It's so bad. But how do we lay a decent sized number here, 4.5, 5 on the road with a team that needs to run the ball, missing 3 starters on the offensive line? You see my predicament. On top of that, another angle I really like for Kyler Murray. We know the story with Kyler Murray this year. When given a clean pocket, he's solid. He's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL under pressure this year. Well, good news. The Panthers don't have a pass rush. The Panthers don't even have anything that looks like a pass rush. So perfect matchup for Kyler Murray, right? Well, how do you take a quarterback that can't handle pressure, missing 3 starters on the offensive line? It's crazy. I mean, what I ended up doing is saying, I don't care. I don't care about the 3 starters on the offensive line because the Panthers' defensive front is that bad. Last week, check this out. Cooper Rush was pressured on 13.3% of his dropbacks. 13.3. The least in the NFL by far. Just for reference, for people who don't look at analytics, if your quarterback is pressured on 25% of his dropbacks, you did a great job as a pass protection. If he's pressured on 25%. Cooper Rush was pressured on 13% of his dropbacks. They couldn't touch Cooper Rush. And the Cowboys' offensive line is missing Zach Martin. So like this Panthers defensive front may be so bad to another level that we say, fuck it. I don't even care that the Cardinals are missing pieces on the offensive line. This unit is that bad. So I laid the 4.5. Like I said, it's a small bet for me.
I agree. So my best bet is kind of with what he said. James Conner. This is crazy because it's a huge number. James Conner over 107.5 rush plus receiving yards.
I'm on that too. I got one more 6, but yeah, I'm on it too.
Winner, chicken dinner. They could have all 5 down. I don't even give a flying hoot. This rush defense is so terrible. This rush defense is so bad. He just said all about it. But Connor, workhorse of the team, plus both backup running backs look like they are hurt and not going to play as well. He's going to be on the field all the time. He's had 17, 18, and 16 rush attempts the last 3 weeks. And now we get the Panthers defense. Like he said, they are the worst run defense in the NFL. In NFL history, probably. I'll just say that. But allowed the most running backs or rush yards to running backs, 5 yards per carry. But like Kyle just said, it's been even worse lately. Giving up the most rush attempts per game because teams just run it. 34 rush attempts per game. It's not even close. The last 3 running backs versus Carolina have gone over this with rush yards alone. Rico Dowdle, 149. Saquon, 124. Bucky Irving, 152. It's absolutely crazy. Now, if we talk about the receiving yards part of it, we just need 20 yards receiving to break even with this one. He has 28 plus receiving yards in 4 of the last 5. Not just that, he's averaging 38.8 receiving yards per game last 5. So, I mean, if somehow he goes a little under his rushing prop, he could easily make up for that with this receiving prop. The Panthers have been a little bit better covering running backs out of the backfield, but in Connor's last 2 matchups, when he played top 10 defenses and receiving yards allowed to running backs, 130 versus the Jets and 51 versus the Chargers. It doesn't really matter. Consistent volume here, 5-5, 4-4, and 5 targets the last 5 games. He's also caught 25 of his last 26 targets. Decently efficient there as well. Game script should be pretty competitive. You know, rush or receiving doesn't really matter. So I just love this one. He could go over this multiple ways. Rush yards alone, like every other running back seems to be doing, or he could get 40, 50 receiving yards to help out as well. So I think this line should be like 120. It's a huge number. I usually back away from this, but I got to go with it. So give me Connor.
By the way, quick announcement: if you're We're muting a bunch of people, but it's not like no hard feel. I'm not muting because I'm pissed off at you that you were talking shit. It's no big deal. It's just the chat's getting really flooded because we have so many people. So the people that are in there just not contributing anything, just either being negative or fighting. It's just we're better off without having you on there. But it's not like fuck you. Like it's no big deal. It's just we're trying to limit the chat. to people that are like sharing bets.
We're trying to garner a positive betting community.
Yeah, but I didn't want it to think I muted you like, it's not like it's no big deal.
No, I did mute the guy who called me Alvin the Chipmunk 70 times. El Meezy, eat a bag of shit. Anyways, now on to the rest of the program. So we are rolling. I like the Connor look as well. I love backing Connor at home. Connor's a wagon at home. I backed him last week. Had a bit of a heart attack, 3 rush attempts through the first half, but he wound up getting there. I'm rolling with Big Marv, Maserati Marv in this game. Now, if you've been betting this guy this year, you probably think, this guy's the bane of my existence. He's a scumbag, and why would we bet him? Well, I mean, that's a bit harsh. I think this is the perfect spot for him to finally get going this week. Panthers are a team that lives in one high. If you've probably bet him at some point, or if you've seen on Gambling Twitter, Marvin Harrison stinks against 2 high. He's awesome against 1 high. Now faces a team that lives in 1 high this season. On top of that, the Panthers have dramatically increased their usage as in cover 1 as the season has gone on, and that is really big here because Marvin Harrison is the king of cover 1 on this Panthers team. 34% first read target share is massive. On top of that, he counts for 30% of the team's yards against these looks. Now, I know the Cardinals' offensive line is a bit banged up here, but this is still the Panthers' pass rush, for Christ's sake. The worst pass rush in all of football, and Harrison has been significantly more effective when Murray is kept clean. His yards per route run doubles. His targets per route run doubles as well when Murray is kept clean. And the Panthers, I know they don't allow many pass yards per game, and their cornerback room, they have J.C. Horn, one of the best corners in all of football, but they still allow a lot of wide receiver ones to clear their mark on a near weekly basis. I mean, this is all since week 5 I'm talking here. We got CeeDee Lamb, 116, Mike Evans, 118, Sutton, 100, McLaurin, 98, Drake London, 74, DJ Moore, 105, Jamar Chase, 85. I mean, the only people who missed were A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts had like 100 yards in that game. Malik Neighbors, because his quarterback's a train wreck and couldn't handle a freaking simple pass. And then Chris Olave, who croaked on the field first play of the game. So essentially, it has been a cash cow every single week. The Panthers know what their biggest hole is, which is on the ground. Obviously, I'm still hoping everybody could cash in this one. But I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. is being a bit slapped on here. And I think that at plus 150 for him to get 5+ receptions and for 50+ yards, minus 113, this is such a cheap price against such a weak secondary. I got to play it here.
Someone said something in the comments, and I wanted to answer. I don't understand the first part of what he said, but he said, how does it help anyone if you got a different number where you're all betting today, not 3 days ago? And I honestly used to think that, but that I've come to realize that the people watching, like our core followers, are not tailing our picks. They're watching TV. They're looking to hear from people that they know did their homework and people they follow, people they like, talk about their bets for the day. So it's not, they want to hear me saying, this is the bet I'm on today and this is why. Not necessarily like, hey, you need to take this pick. If I'm on Washington team total under 21.5, they want to hear me talk about what my bets are. So I used to think that too. That like, what's the point of giving out a bet you got earlier? But that's not why people are, or at least the core followers, that's not why they're tuned in. They're tuned in to hear what my bets are for the day and hear me go through the action. So I used to think that same thing though.
All right, it's Chiggy time. It's time to get Chiggy with it. Let's hit the song. Anytime, touching it down, scoring it, running around. It's the anytime, touchdown, scoring. Anytime you need touchdown. Yeah.
Well, thanks for that.
Sorry, I'm a man.
All right, who's got the touchdown scorer? We played the song for something.
It's for Jabba.
Me, baby. Did Toast get to stay in Beaver?
I'm so sorry.
Slap me to the side. It's
I'm
okay, Beaver.
so
I
sorry.
had the same play as him anyway. All the same reasons. It's really. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Well, it's because you had the same play.
I know. No, I got it.
Yeah.
Trust me. I'm still gonna talk shit to you though.
Okay. Listen, I don't know why I have 2 touchdown props in this game. I probably need to rethink my process here, but I do. So the first one is Anthony Richardson touchdown plus 140. Scored a TD in 3 of the last 4, 7+ carries, 4 straight. He has more carries inside the 5-yard line in the last 4 games than even Jonathan Taylor. 46+ rush yards in the last 3 games. We just know he's a guy who's using his legs a lot since he became the starter again. Led to a lot of rushing. His rush attempts is 8.5 for a reason. Facing the Titans, who have allowed the 5th most rushing touchdowns per game, 5th most rushing touchdowns this year to the quarterback position. I like Anthony Richardson, but we're not here for Anthony Richardson. We're here to get you with it, like you said. Chig Okonkwo, anytime TD, plus 500 on FanDuel is what I got. There was one book at the same time at plus 500 that had it at plus 350. It was insane, the difference. Let's talk Okonkwo real quick. He's had a good connection with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. He's played 5 straight games with him, 3 games of 38-plus receiving yards, 59 receiving yards on 10 targets last week. But honestly, he had 13 targets. 3 were taken away due to penalties as well. That's just insane volume for a guy at plus 500. If you get plus 400, I like that as well. But here's the deal. He's not had a red zone target in 6 weeks. But again, Levis was the quarterback for a while. But 3 of his 4 red zone targets this year were from Mason Rudolph. The Colts defense has allowed the second most touchdowns to tight ends this season. They're ranked 25th overall versus tight ends in receiving yards allowed. We're talking 5-1, 4-1, whatever it is. This is a sprinkle. Again, do not put this in a parlay. Do not bet your house on it. But Okonkwo at these odds, he's just way too involved to have that many targets and that many chances to not get a touchdown. So Chiggy and A-Rich.
You're speaking music to my ears, my friend. If you're in a bind in your fantasy semifinals and you need to stream a tight end right here, you didn't get Brenton Strange on the wire. I think this is the guy right here, Chig Okonkwo. As he said, he got 10 targets last week. I didn't know he actually got 13, including the penalties. That's absolutely insane right there. So kind of like me and Chig, we have a lot more in common than one would ever think. Let me just go ahead and get my notes up real quick. So me and Chig, turns out Will Levis isn't only the bane of my existence, but of Chig Okonkwo's as well. Because without Levis as the starter, Chig's over his receiving line his last 15 to 21 games, averaging 34 yards per game. It's just with Will Levis that this dude cannot get it going. In 4 healthy games with Rudolph, as I believe that Jabbo said, he's over the line in 3 of them. He's averaging 40 yards per game, 6 targets per game. And where Chig has really dominated the usage is against zone looks. 0.33 targets per out run is pretty nuts. And on top of that, he's getting designed looks. 28% first read target share, 2.3 yards per out run. Now he's facing a Colts defense that is second in the NFL in zone coverage frequency. On top of that, they specifically live in cover 3 at the second highest rate in the league. And that's a specific zone look that Chig has performed best against. I mean, against cover 3, 32% first read, 3 yards per out run. Against all other looks, 15 and 1.25. So this is just an insane matchup right here. Since week 3, Colts allowing the 5th most yards per game, 9th most yards per reception, and 5th most receptions per game to opposing tight ends. I put 1.5 units on the receiving yards line, a half unit on the receptions line. I'm all in on Chig today.
Someone said, someone needs to go back through the videos, collect the data on the record of the teams winning or covering when Sauce takes a team he's currently wearing the hat of. I've been told it's good, but I think people might have been just saying that. I don't know. That's not confirmed. Toast, what is going on with this show? There's a Okonkwo freaking graphics all over the screen.
I don't even know who that guy existed. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not gonna act like I did. So, okay, it's under or pass for me. I'm not gonna lie. So this number keeps on dropping down. You could have got it at 45.5 at open. It's dropped down to 42.5. I think this is an under game all the way, but I don't really want to bet on a Colts Titans game. But I am gonna tail Jabbo's anytime touchdown.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better. It would be under or pass for me as well. Slight lean on the Titans at the plus 3.5. Should be a tough matchup for the Colts offensively here. Not that this Titans defense has been great or anything like that, but where this Titans defense tends to get pieced up are short underneath throws. You could just jab this Titans defense to death with short throws and just stay on the field. You look at Anthony Richardson's efficiency numbers throwing the ball shorter than 10 yards. He might as well be throwing it lefty. I mean, his numbers throwing short passes are terrible. He can make some big throws. He's a crazy athlete. But this Colts team with Anthony Richardson is basically run the ball or chuck it downfield. And that's actually the 2 things the Titans can stop. So it should be a tough matchup for the Colts offensively. The reason that I'm not on the Titans and I'm not on the under, man, it's such a wild card what we're going to get from the Titans offensively here. I mean, is Mason Rudolph going to come out and throw 180 in the first quarter again to Calvin Ridley? I really have no idea what to expect on that side of the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if Mason Rudolph throws 3 picks and the Colts cover this number by default and it goes over the total by default, like that Mason Rudolph gifted the Colts 20 points in this game. So it's just way too much variance, way too many question marks for me to actually put my money on it. Next, I might have to bet that guy though. He's on my freaking screen 3 times.
When Beaver put 1.5 units on it, that was the first thing I did was tail it. So.
Yeah,
thank you.
Also, real quick, I forgot what I was going to say now. There's something about it.
I have one thing. The Titans defense is much better on the road than it is at home. It's like 10 or 12 spots higher in DVOA and stuff like that.
They are
played much better on the road.
And prop Beavers Titans. Make sure we call it prop Beavers Titans. They've only won 2 against the spread this year, by the way. It's pretty.
Oh, and for those wondering, my record in Titans games significantly better when Will Levis does not start the game. So.
Everyone was wondering. Everyone was
it jumped
like,
to 2-9 ATS.
Yeah, I was gonna say it jumps from 0-14 to 2-9.
In case you guys were on your edge of your seat wondering, what's prop Beaver's record when Will Levis doesn't play?
No one even slept last night. It was brutal.
He didn't even respond to my text.
Oh no, we're on this one.
I'm right there with you.
No, you've been pumping this game up for 6 days.
I pump it up to the people in our group. These people.
I was telling people at the bar, Kyle. I'm all in on the Bears.
Okay. Disclaimer before I say this. This is going to be a very convincing argument. Make your own decisions. This team is bad. They could still get their asses beat despite me having a convincing argument. All right? I'm a very convincing guy. I'm on the Bears heavy. That being said,
I'm on the Bears heavy.
I got the Bears +7, Bears +3.5, Bears money line, Bears ladder. All right. So,
jeez, got this whole graphic.
Let me clear my throat for this. These 2 teams just played on Thanksgiving. Loved it. Bears covered my alt line of +3.5. Loved every second of it. The Bears could have forced that game to overtime if they didn't mismanage the clock at the end of the game, right? So these 2 teams just played in Detroit. 23-20 final score. Second half, Bears were in control. All right. That was with McNeil, with Carlton Davis. I don't think people realize how dicked this Lions defense is right now. They were already screwed with injuries. Recently, last week. McNeil is now out. Carlton Davis is now out. You can make an argument that that's been their 2 best defensive players this year. Carlton Davis is their highest rated corner by far. He is now out. McNeil, I don't know if he's the highest rated defensive lineman, but if you've watched Lions games, you know how important he's been in the middle. He's out as well. This Lions team is now missing 5 of the 7 starters on their defensive front 7 and their best corner. Not to mention, they're starting to get lit up. Back-to-back games where the Lions defense did not look good. They're starting to get run on. The last 3 games, they've been getting run on, the Lions defense. That's supposed to be the strength of the defense. I think this Lions defense might be bad right now. It looks bad, and they're really hurt. 6 of the 11 starters from the beginning of the year gone. So I think this Bears team is about to run the ball on the Lions. Not to mention Caleb Williams at home plays much better. You got to keep in mind, everyone's like, Caleb Williams sucks. The Bears suck. Yeah. They've played 3 road games in a row. No wonder you think that. They've been ass on the road all season. On the road this year, the Bears are 0-7. At home, they're 4-3. And 2 of their losses at home, 2019 to the Packers, where they missed the field goal. So they should have beat the Packers at home. Another one of their losses at home, the Vikings in overtime. The idea that the Bears are a bad team at home, they could very easily be 5-1 in their home games. They
are against the spread. They're 5-1 ATS.
5-1 against the spread, too. They've been much better at home. Caleb Williams plays much better at home. Now, let's talk about the Lions' offense. Have we forgotten what Jared Goff does outside? He's a vampire. He's afraid of the sunlight. Jared Goff is afraid of the sunlight. If you're wondering why you haven't heard much of that, it's because he's only played 1 game outside this whole year. It was the Green Bay game. He threw for, 140 yards in the game? Granted, it was pouring rain. Maybe not the best data point. But over the course of his career, Jared Goff sucks outdoors. Last year, around this same time of year, December 10th, at Soldier Field, Jared Goff, 160 yards and 2 picks. Jared Goff, lifetime at Soldier Field, 4 starts, 4 touchdowns, 6 picks, a 61 passer rating. He sucks outside. We're in December at Soldier Field where Jared Goff sucks. Not to mention, there's no Montgomery. The Lions haven't even been able to run the ball in their last 2 games. In the Lions' last 2 games, 3.2 yards per carry, under 80 rushing yards per game. They can't run the ball anymore. I'm not saying the Lions' run game is dead. I'm just saying it hasn't been there in weeks. So now it's going to show up on the road. They'll probably run the ball a little bit, but no Montgomery. That definitely hurts. We're talking about laying 7. laying 7 on the road with this team that I think right now, if the Lions played the whole season right now with this team, they would be a below 500 team. That defense is fucked up. It's bad. Bears win. Please make your own decisions.
I'll just follow after you. I mean, I don't really have much to add. You went in there, Chief. So yeah, I mean, I think the reasoning is rather simple here. I mean, the Bears should have won the last game, or if not won, I mean, they should have at least went to overtime. I mean, if they had a competent coach, or I mean, I think Keenan Allen said it best. The players did everything they needed to win that game. And they did. They felt like they should have won that game. I know the public perception of the Bears is pretty much at an all-time low right now. Their last 2 games, the defense looks like absolute shit. The offense looks like it's reverting back to its old ways. But at the same time, both those games were on the road against some really hard defenses to face. Minnesota Vikings, one of the toughest defenses in the league. 49ers defense just got 3 of their stars back. They're looking excellent right now. So I think this is the perfect time to really buy back in on Caleb Williams, a guy who's so much better against the blitz, a guy who could use those legs. So yeah, I'm betting the Bears again. This is a spot that Detroit has been horrendous in historically. They're really bad at Chicago. Jared Goff has always struggled at Chicago as well. And even when they have won in Chicago, it's only really been by a few points. So I took the 7. I'm also going to take the money line. I put, I think, 0.36 units on that to win a full unit. And then I think my favorite play in this game, if not for the Bears, would be, I guess my favorite prop play is going to be Caleb Williams over rush yards. Rush yard overs for mobile QBs against Detroit. I mean, they've been absolutely printing. 4 straight QBs to face Detroit. They murked their totals. They're averaging 48 yards per game during that span. The last 9 to 13 on the season they've faced have also gone over, averaging 30 yards per game. And this is a problem for Detroit all season now. On the season, they're on the fourth most yards per game, most yards per carry to the QBs on the ground. And this is an excellent match for Williams to see a boost in attempts. Why? Because the Lions are not only top 5 in blitz rate, but they lead the NFL in man coverage rate. Williams sees his scramble rate increase considerably against both, but against man coverage, his efficiency doubles. It goes from averaging just 5.8 yards per carry to 11.4. So he already had 39 against them at Detroit. He's been far more effective with his legs at home, going from averaging 18.5 his last 4 road games to 42 yards his last 5 home games. I like the spot for Caleb Williams to use those legs, and I like the Bears as well. Bears down. I think they're going to win this one straight up today and shock a lot of people.
Love it.
Yeah, and everyone's like, dude, ladder the Bears with laughing emojis. I'm pretty sure the last time I laddered the Bears was Thanksgiving, and you guys all said the same thing.
Yeah, a lot of people. I feel good.
Go ahead.
So give me the Lions for -6.
Okay.
It's a half unit play for me. I don't love it, but here's the deal. Now, listen, I have lost a lot of money on the Bears, and maybe that's why I'm fading them here. I'm trying not to get too cute. All the worries I have in this game about the Lions are the worries they've mentioned. The injuries on defense, the playing outdoors, I get that. But to me, the Chicago Bears have looked like they've completely given up. They have looked lost. And I know we talked about their last game against the Lions, all these games before, and I know they play better at home. But this head coach and this team looks lost. Their body language says, I can't wait for the offseason. I think DJ Moore was even talking about the offseason already. So that's where my angle is. This team has been an absolute train wreck in the last 2 weeks. Yes, they faced better defenses, but they've also been outscored 68-25 in those last 2 games. They don't score in the first half. They don't start playing until the second half. Now, they'll probably do a little bit more scoring than they've done lately because it is the Lions defense and they are hurt. This is still a Bears team where the O-line looks like it's getting worse and worse every single week. This is still a Bears team that lost 19-3 at home to the Patriots and couldn't move the ball at all. That was at home, of course. And like I said, their head coach doesn't look like he knows how to do anything, really make adjustments or do anything. My worry is the Lions injuries. Again, this is a half unit play for me here. But I just think the big part of it is, and I may not have made this bet if they didn't, but Dan Campbell in Detroit after a loss has been unbelievable. 9-0 against the spread in the last 9 games after a loss. It's been crazy. They get pissed off. We have one team that looks like they're ready for the offseason. One team that is just, they're going to come out hungry. Injuries or not, you've heard this team and this coach, whenever they lose, they get pissed off. So I do think Detroit will be able to run the ball well with Jahmyr Gibbs in this one. I think you see his lines pretty high for a reason. Lions are just flat out better. Again, I get all the points they're saying. I'm not going to sit here and say this is my favorite bet of the week or anything. but I do like the Lions. And I got it -6 juiced at -120 when it was at 6.5. I don't mind spending a little bit extra juice to get the 6, because if it is a close game, even if it goes in overtime and they score a touchdown, win by 6, then you get a push. But either way, give me the Lions -6. It's not a favorite pick out of these 4 people, obviously, though.
Toast.
Can't really add to what you just went on. I will just say that Jared Goff, when the temperature's below 35 degrees, which it will be today, 1-5 ATS. Outdoors in general, over his last 20 games, he's 7-12-1 ATS, or that's in December. He's 7-12-1 ATS. Outdoors, he's barely a 500 quarterback ATS, considering he's almost 70% indoors. So, it's just a fate to get Jared Goff on the road. And not to mention, Kyle touched on it as well, the Bears have been a different team at home this year. Completely different team.
Yeah, Goff's a vampire, bro. He's scared of the sunlight.
I want to see them post Eberflus at the Cribbo. Let's see if they have that fire again.
I haven't heard vampire.
What game did Eberflus get fired in?
He got fired after the Lions game.
Oh, okay, that was after the Lions game.
And then they've been on the road since that Lions game. This is their first game home in 3
First home game in a month.
Mm-hmm.
Giants, Falcons. Ugh. What a shit game, man. All right, let me scroll in my notes here.
This line is unbelievable.
No, I mean, it makes sense. The Giants defense is really tough to get a feel for right now. They're missing so many pieces, and I'm assuming Steve referenced earlier, he's like, the Jets haven't packed it in. They haven't given up. There's a team later that I think has given up.
I thought this was it.
I think he was
what the hell? How is this not it?
Is this it?
Because the Bears have looked like they, but you're right. I agree. I think this team has to.
Oh, he was talking about the Bears?
Yeah, no, he was talking about the Bears.
Bears are about to win today, bro. All right. Giants, Falcons. So the Giants defense, tough to back. They're missing a lot of pieces. The reason you can't just go and lay 9.5 with Atlanta, even though a part of me wants to, is the 2 pieces that the Giants should have out there, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, which means despite the Giants missing all those pieces, they still have 2 elite edge rushers on the field. And honestly, that might not need all you need. That might be all you need to beat a rookie quarterback is 2 elite edge rushers. Brian Burns and Thibodeau against a rookie quarterback laying 9.5. That sounds crazy. Strip sacks, picks. I mean, there's just way too much that can go wrong there to lay the 9.5. And I just feel like the scale of where we can land here as far as production we can expect from Michael Penix is just too huge. Would I be surprised if Penix throws 350 and 3 touchdowns? No. Would I be surprised if Penix throws 120 yards and 2 picks and fumbles? No. I wouldn't be surprised at either of those. So I guess Falcons are no. You know what? My lean for this game is actually over because Drew Lock is playing, and I do think Drew Lock's capable of throwing the ball in the dome on a bad Falcons defense. So in the voice chat we did last night in the Discord, we decided that the best play would probably be over here, 42.5. Is it still 42.5? 1 second, sorry. Giants, 42.5. Yeah. So that in the voice chat we did last night, we decided the best play for this game is probably over because I think the Giants might throw the ball and might be able to move the ball a little bit. But I didn't bet this.
I'll just go really quickly. I don't have a bet in this game. I wouldn't mind that Patterson kid, the new kicker for Atlanta, because Younghoe Koo has just been absolutely terrible, and his kicking points are 7.5, juiced up to 130. So that usually gives you a pretty good indication. And his over 1.5 field goals is 145. So probably I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons kick some field goals here today with Penix struggles in the red zone. But again, I didn't bet it. I want nothing to do with this game.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Penix is the first rookie quarterback in the last 40 years to make his debut this late in the season and be a 7 or more point favorite, just to kind of let you know where the Giants stand right now. If I had to do any props, I like Bijan over. I think he's just going to get a ton of carries. I think he's going to have a great game on the ground. I think it's 86.5. I don't mind that. He has 102 more in 3 of the last 5. Giants giving up the second most rush yards per attempt. It's not a best bet or anything, but if you had to look at a prop, that's one to look at. But this is, how could you possibly bet this game? Like Kyle just said, I wouldn't be surprised if Penix has a great game, has a terrible game. When you have that range of outcomes, you do not have to bet the game. So stay away from me.
I'm with Steve on this one. It's a pure stay away from me. I mean, if I had to pick a side, if my family's life was on the line, I would take the Giants. Strictly because of the fact, what the hell? I truly know close to little to nothing about Mr. Michael Penix, but it's a rookie quarterback, and the Falcons are pretty much just as ass to me as the Giants are. they're quite bad. I mean, I know they have a lot of talent, but I mean, offensively, but I mean, the defense is horrendous. And yeah, you need to play some defense to cover 9.5 points. So yeah.
All you need to know about Michael Penix, he went to University of Washington. He's going to let you down sooner or later.
Whoa. And second of all, did you just say if you had to put your family's life on the line, you'd go with the Giants?
I wouldn't lay 9.5 with a rookie in his first start. That's all I'm going to say. You got to play it by the book.
They're not watching, are
Just
they?
call it a lean. You don't got to bring your family's lives into it.
No, if I had to, I'm playing it by the book. If my family's lives are on the line, I'm going with the book.
Gun to your head, just shoot.
Just shoot.
Just shoot it. Just tarp it.
And someone said in the comments, we don't have tape on Penix. I mean, that's kind of true, but also you can make an argument we have more tape on Penix than any rookie quarterback ever. He played for 15 fucking years in college.
I was going to say, if you listen to like the NFL shows, like it seems like the Falcons have been, the team himself, they've been wanting him to play for a couple weeks now for what he's been doing in practice. And with Kirk Cousins not being able to move with his Achilles and stuff like that, they actually feel like, go ahead.
He couldn't play.
Yeah, I was going to say they think that it's going to open up things downfield. It's going to open up a lot of other things for him. Again, I'm not going to put my money on that. But
his last real game was against Michigan in the title game. It was not pretty.
How'd that go?
It did not go well.
Yeah, why is it got to be raining in this game? Why?
Oh, dude, it's pouring.
Why?
Our drive yesterday sucked. It is horrendous here.
Because if it wasn't raining, Gino pass yards, I'd run
day.
that shit right back from last week. Get my money back that I'm owed because poor Gino gets injured. It's a tragedy.
Steve, tell us your thoughts on the Hawks.
Yeah, so it's really hard to not have a good grasp on who they are this year because I was not expecting an absolute annihilation against the Packers like we just experienced. It was pathetic. It was sad, but it's sad, like the weather here. So here's the deal. My best bet in this game, if I had to lean aside, I do think the Seahawks +3 are the side here. But my bet is the under 42.5 in this game. Again, rain, and more rain. Geno Smith is horrendous at home. If he's not 100%, he makes such bad mistakes in the red zone, especially. But like I said, we've struggled at home. I've said this before. We're not a team that's built for cold, rainy weather. We're just not. We're not a team that's built for where we play right now. We have scored the 6th fewest points per game at home at 19.1. They're going to continue to struggle if this O-line cannot figure it out. And I know they're a little healthier now on the O-line. You saw Green Bay dominate us in the trenches, but it's not going to get any easier. As we all know, Minnesota blitz is at the #1 highest rate, and it's not even close at 38.9%. 4th highest pressure rate, 4th most sacks, all of these stuff. The Seahawks run game has looked a little bit better lately. And the Vikings do look like they have a little bit of some leakiness going on in their run defense last, 2 or 3 weeks. So there is a chance, 3 weeks. Okay, there you go. And so there is a chance, I think, that we can run the ball a little bit. That could chew up some clock as well. It doesn't mean we're just going to all of a sudden put up a ton of points because we can run some. And then the Vikings offense has looked pretty decent. I think ever since they decided to throw the ball to Jordan Addison and not force feed Justin Jefferson every single week, they've looked a lot better passing the ball. But do I expect Sam Darnold to come into a cold, rainy weather game in Seattle and just start dominating and chucking all over the field? Absolutely do not. Hawks run defense has been better the last 5 or 6 weeks. I know Josh Jacobs ran the ball decent, but if you look at the final numbers, he didn't average many yards per carry. He had like 25 carries or something. Red zone defenses, both teams are in the top half of the league. I just think it's one of those ugly games. Hopefully Geno doesn't throw some, pick 6 at the 5-yard line or something like that. But I think both teams try to take care of the ball, field position with this rainy weather. I just think 42.5 is a little too high. So I like the under in this one, but they better look better than last week. I'll tell you that.
I posed this. Go ahead.
No, you
go ahead, Kyle. I was just gonna say I posed that question to Kyle last night in our Discord. Like, what do you think this line would have been if the Seahawks just didn't get absolutely annihilated last week? Because if you go back 5 weeks, they've only looked bad one time. And besides, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like the Seahawks teams play. This idea that the Seahawks are playing terrible, I think, is a kind of a fallacy because everybody's seen them. So I just wanted to say that I'm on the Seahawks as well. Kyle can explain it more.
See, there come times in life where you're going to be challenged and you're going to be tested to either stand firm on what you believe in or fold. And you could be an origami type person that folds to adversity, or you could be the type of person that rises up. And this is one of those moments for me, one of those moments for Geno Smith. I stood on the podium. I took the Seahawks money line on Sunday Night Football last week against Green Bay, and a lesser person would fold here and take the Vikings, but I am not that person. I didn't get where I am today by folding. What are we doing here? Sam Darnold against two high safeties, 42nd in turnover-worthy play rate. We're talking about Geno Smith turning the ball over. Darnold's about to feed us 2 in this one. In the rain against two high safeties, Darnold's giving us 2 picks in this one. This Geno Smith at home thing, it's a phantom. It's ghosts. Not afraid of ghosts. This line should not be 3. Like Toast said, if the Seahawks didn't get clobbered last week, this would be a pick'em. I don't even think the Vikings are that much better than the Seattle. They are the better team, but laying 3 on the road, no way. I think the Seahawks win this game. You know what Minnesota does? Yes, they blitz a lot, as Steve says. You know what else? What else does Minnesota do a lot of, Prop Beaver? Tell them.
They pressure the quarterback a lot.
Cover 2. Cover 2.
They do run a lot of cover 2. Yeah.
Who's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL against cover 2?
Geno.
You already know. One of the best in the NFL, like 4th in yards per attempt, 3rd in pass rating. Dude carves cover 2 up. I don't care if it's raining. You merely adopted the rain. Geno was born in that shit.
Was.
Seahawks outright, +3 money line.
Just to confirm, Geno was not born in Seattle, but I will say this.
Didn't he go to West Virginia?
Yeah.
I mean, he was born in this. But I will say also the Vikings' last 3 games have both been nice and warm at home. Just so you know, this is their first road game in quite a while.
Yeah. So I think I don't really have anything for this game. I would probably lean with the under here. The rain, I really like the Geno passing yard thing, but after watching that Rams 49ers game, I'm good with passing yards overs in the rain. So yeah, I would go with the under here. Just basically due to the fact that I do love me some Geno, but god damn it, man stinks at home. And yeah, I kind of like what Kyle was saying about Sam Darnold against the 2 high. Not a great look. I mean, both these defenses amongst the best in the league. I know that obviously the Seahawks defense did not look its best last week, but maybe the Packers offense is just that goddamn good. I'm willing to back them again this week if I had to. So yeah, I would lean the under 42.5 in this spot.
Hawks.
Somebody riled me up, and I bet Jackson Smith and Jigma anytime touchdown.
It was freaking Mo. It was freaking Mo. He was like, guys, lock city.
So I bet that and Sam Darnold to throw a pick now that I'm looking. I totally forgot about that.
One thing I will say, pro Seahawks bettors, Geno Smith has thrown an interception in all but one home game this year. The Vikings have an interception off every quarterback not named Caleb Williams, I believe, this year, except one other guy. So I believe they have an interception in 11 or 14 games. Geno Smith throw a pick in this game, only -115. Super suspect price. So just saying, if Geno doesn't throw that infamous red zone pick, maybe they have a much better shot at winning at home.
I got -114 on Sam Darnold. Is that suspect? I'm seriously asking too.
I mean, I'd have to take a look at some hit rates, but
all right, my bad.
No, it's okay.
Just parlay them both. Just bet the house. Two laddered up, 3+ on both, and call it good. JSN, by the way, is an absolute beast. That guy is
in the voice chat, I put the phone to the side, so I'm not like looking at who's talking, and then I hear a voice come in, confident as shit. Lock of the night. Listen, guys, Jackson Smith and Jigma. And I was like, who the fuck is that? Oh, it's Mo.
You gotta remember, Mo's the type of guy that comes into the voice chat and be like, I got a lock, and then he gives you 2 different plays, and he's like, you can pick either locks. Receptions, yards, it doesn't matter. It's a lock.
Yeah, that every single one he gives out is a lock. And then it's like, Mo, you gave us 11 locks. All right. Patriots, Bills. Toast, you want to tell him what's up?
I do want to tell him. Hold on. Give me a second to pull up my notes because this is quite impelling. But under. I'm going to tell you guys that right now.
Toast is on this one. It's a deep state fury, this total.
I even got Kyle to tail. So, I just feel like, first of all, this is a very sleepy spot for Buffalo coming off their last 4 games playing. Sorry, I don't have my notes in front of me right now. Killing me. Buffalo, their last 4 games. Detroit, the Rams, San Francisco, Kansas City. I mean, those are obviously some of the upper echelon teams in the league. Now they got to fly home and play a sleepy game against the Patriots, who are absolutely dead. And then you have the Patriots over here that, haven't really looked great at all. But the thing for me is that all these games are going over. Look at the Patriots games the last 4 weeks. Over. Look at the Patriots games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've went over 7 of their last 9 games. Buffalo, another team that's just strictly overs over their last since week 6, they've only played 2 games under. And now you're sitting here with this total under 47 against the Bills team that should theoretically come in here and absolutely destroy this Patriots team. Hell no. I really, this is like one of my favorite spots. This is one of my favorite bets of the week. I have like full unit on this, under 46.5. Everybody's going to think that the Bills are going to come in here and throttle the Patriots and put up all these points. I don't really see it. I think the Bills are going to try to get in and get out of this game. I don't know who wins or who covers the spread, but there's not going to be 47 points in this game. I promise you.
You're going to promise them now.
I'm sorry. I got a little excited. Leave me alone.
So let me translate what Toast just said. Bills, last 5 games, they're scoring 80 points, 76 points, 50 points. These are 2 of the most profitable over teams in the NFL. Look at the recent games. These 2 teams are in 50-point games every week. Over. Bills are hanging 45 a game on people. Bills coming off the 4 big games. The Rams on primetime, the Lions, the 49ers. They're coming off 4 of the biggest games of the year. Now you go back home to play the Patriots, and the total's at 46.5 for 2 of the most profitable over teams in the NFL that have been in 50-plus games nonstop. I tell, dude, under.
Wow.
I'm not going to promise you, though.
No, but I mean, look at the totals for the Bills games the last few weeks: 55, 55.5, 50.5, 47. I mean, I just don't get it. Like this number should have been at least 48, 49.5. If the Bills were really going to be on fire and continue what they've been doing all season, it's just I don't see it.
Toast, I'm tailing. I'm doing
Thank
it.
you.
So here's the deal. I have a rule. If the spread is near the temperature of the game, I stay away, and that's where we're at. I think, is this going to be like 20? What do we know? Have we confirmed weather? I've heard it was going to be.
I have 9 degrees and clear in Buffalo today.
9 degrees?
Oh,
Correct.
my Lord.
In Fahrenheit?
I don't know Celsius.
Kelvin.
Holy crap. The spread's bigger than the temperature, which is a reason I would like the under even more, honestly, as well. Bills just want to get out of here with a win. Everything he said, I have nothing. This game is disgusting.
This is your typical, like, we're playing a sus line type of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
exactly.
I was just looking at some of the stuff. I mean, Josh Allen's pass attempts is at a line he has cruised over his last, 7 to 8 games. I mean, it's not even close. The pass attempts line is absurd. I actually went with his under in rushing yards. I just feel like this is a game where we don't need to see him put his body on the line. It just doesn't simply makes sense to me. His rush yards line is about 20 yards under where he's been flying over his last 4 or 5 games. I'm about to get into it. Let me just get this graphic on the screen. So, yeah, my top bet for this game, Josh Allen under 37.5 rushing yards. As I just mentioned, crucified this total's last 4 or 5 games, averaging 55 yards per game on 9 attempts. But all 4 of those overs, they had one thing in common. They either took place on the road or were against a fearsome pass rush. Now he's going to return home to face his Patriots pass rush. They're amongst the worst in the game at generating pressure, and that should lead to less scrambles. I mean, it certainly has for other teams. Pats, they've allowed the 3rd fewest yards per game, 3rd fewest yards per carry, and the 9th fewest attempts per game to QBs on the ground this year. And Allen just doesn't run that much at home. He's under his last 13 to 20 at home, averaging just 28 yards per game on 6 attempts, compared to being over his last 12 to 20 on the road, averaging 44 yards per game on 8 attempts. So obviously sees more efficiency and more volume on the road compared to at home. And he's really struggled against his Patriots team on the ground. I mean, his last 3 or 4 meetings, he's under the mark. He's averaging 24 yards per game despite 9 attempts per game. So he's seen that volume and just can't get anything in terms of efficiency. In a game where he's a 14-point spread and he should carve them through the air due to his excellence against man coverage, Pats use at one of the highest rate in the league. I just see zero reason for this guy to get going with his legs. In 7+ point victories going back to last season, Allen 6-3 to the under. So yeah, I mean, if you want to take under pass attempts, if you want to take under rush attempts, if you want to take under rushing yards, I don't really care how you want to do it. I know it sounds crazy to fade Josh Allen in the midst of this MVP run right now, but I just don't really see a need for him to do that much in this game. So yeah, I'm going with the under in terms of the rushing yards.
AC Locks in the comments says, any parlays? For those of you that aren't in the Discord, the reason we all know who that is, how he became is he said one night around midnight, I guess after a losing night, he says, guys, I'm going to listen to you guys. No more parlays for me. I'm listening. I've heard the message. No more parlays. And then the next morning, he shared a parlay and said, guys, this one's a lock. And someone screenshotted the times. It was legitimately 8 hours later the next morning. And what was hilarious was he wasn't being funny. We caught him. All right,
He was
next.
trying to be sneaky, and it didn't work.
I think this one's good. All right.
I know we think that total is trappy, but isn't it because it's like 9 degrees? Isn't that a huge part of it, or do you guys not really think that's the reason for the low total?
I don't know.
I mean, it could be.
I don't think any cold games really.
Bro, maybe you didn't hear. Toast promised us.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
I don't really think you have to worry about anything past that.
Yeah, like, I don't get what the big deal is. He
If
promised.
this game goes over, congratulations, world. Congratulations.
Yeah. At least you'll have the comfort of that. You'll have the comfort of that tweet being sent out.
Oh, it's going to come out for sure. It's in the drafts already.
Can we talk Niners ball?
Yeah, let's talk Niners ball.
All right, Niners ball. I'm on the under. One of my smaller bets of the day. 44.5 is a low number for these two teams, and like I get it. I'm by no means am I saying like love this one at all. It's one of my smaller bets, but a lot of question marks on the offensive line. Well, actually on both sides. There's no Trent Williams for San Francisco. I don't see how the 49ers run the ball in this game. You got no Christian McCaffrey. You got no Jordan Mason. You got no Gorendo. You got no Trent Williams. They haven't been able to run the ball without Trent Williams. Miami's been locking down the run for a couple months now. In the last 8 games, Miami's got like a 33% success rate per rush. So the Dolphins have a great run defense. 49ers can't run the ball without McCaffrey. They can't run the ball without Trent Williams. So the run game, not going to be there for San Francisco. Brock Purdy will probably have some opportunities to make some throws. Miami struggled against the pass, but the area that's weak for Miami's defense is the deep pass. Without Ayuk, I mean, Brock Purdy, we haven't seen much downfield passing from Brock Purdy. So I don't know if he's necessarily the right offense to exploit what Miami's weak at. I'm sure Brock Purdy will make a few throws. Like I said, Miami has struggled against the pass, and I would actually lean towards the 49ers side if I was picking a side. On the other side, I mean, we got question marks everywhere here for Miami. They're still going to be without their right tackle. We don't know if Taron Armstead is going to play. If he is, he's not going to be 100%. Their third tackle is questionable. We don't know if he's going to play. The Dolphins haven't been able to run the ball since Obama was president. Like, they haven't been able to run the ball in forever. It's bad. They can't run the ball at all. There's no Jalen Waddle. He's out, or he's doubtful, which means he's out. Tyreek Hill's not 100%. He's listed as questionable. The 49ers defense is all the way back, by the way. We kind of like wrote the 49ers off because the offense is looking bad, and we kind of like wrote them off and didn't really give the defense the credit of they were missing Hufanga, they were missing Bosa, they were missing Greenlaw. That 49ers defense was crushed for most of this year. Well, they're back now. And in the last 2 games, they're playing great defense. 2 great defensive efforts in a row. 12.5 points per game allowed in their last 2. So, yeah, I think, and on top of all that, I think both offenses are going to be in a situation here. On top of all that, since week 8, in terms of seconds per snap, these two teams are 31st and 32nd in pace. The literally 2 slowest pace teams in the NFL. Give me the under.
Yeah, I'm on the same kind of wavelength. I almost went the under in this game, but instead my best bet is the 49ers team total. I got it at under 23.5. 23 is a key number. Ate a little extra juice at minus 124 when I got it because, like I said, 23 can be key. But the 49ers offense has been a mess. Like he just said, 4th-string running back, no Trent Williams, which is huge for this team. They're not the same O-line they've been in the past, and that's why we've seen the struggles. And in their last 3 road games since that Week 9 bye, it's been the struggle on the road. 23 versus Tampa Bay, 10 Green Bay, 10 versus Buffalo. They haven't gone over 23.5 points on the road since Week 6 now, and now they're even more banged up than they were then. Red zone, we've talked about it all season long. The 49ers in the red zone have been absolutely terrible. They're a bottom 10 team, scoring on only 53% of drives. By the way, last year they were the number 1 red zone offense in the league. And then now they obviously have all the injuries. But like he said, the Dolphins may be like a top 3 run defense right now. It has been unbelievable. Held Mixon to 12 carries on 23 yards. Breece Hall and Allen had 4 yards per carry. Jacobs 43 yards on 19 carries. Raiders running backs did nothing, but they never do anything. But if we have to rely on just Purdy with a banged up O-line, especially their number 1 offensive lineman, and struggles in the red zone, getting to 24 here, unless you get, pick sixes or anything crazy, I just don't see it happening. I do like the under in the whole game, just like Kyle said, but give me the 49ers team total under 23.5.
I feel the same. I would lean towards Miami team total under before San Francisco, but I'm with you. I think both under. So Beaver?
Yeah, so in this one, I'm going with Jawan Jennings, 60+ receiving.
Turn your mic up a little bit. Actually point your mic towards your face is usually what it is.
Yeah, so I'm going with Jawan Jennings, 60+ receiving yards in this one. Guy had 9 targets against the Rams, 2 receptions. I mean, I think that he's due for some positive regression in this one. Obviously, rain was a massive factor in that ball game. And I don't think there's going to be much of a run game, as Jabba was alluding to. I mean, this team enters down 4 running backs, an offense that runs at one of the highest rates in the league. I think we're going to see a potential increase in that pass volume. Sneaky, nice matchup here. Dolphins start off the season pretty tough to throw on, but excuse me, we've seen multiple perimeter threats go off against them since week 8. I mean, we just saw Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson both with 100+ in a game against them. Christian Watson with 67, Puka Nacua with 98. The infamous Marvin Harrison Jr. with 111 against them. And I want to give credit to Data Roma on Twitter for the data here. Great account, so make sure to check them out. But since week 10, we've seen Miami's defense increase their zone coverage and too high usage a lot to top 8 in both marks. Jawan Jennings on the season has absolutely annihilated these looks. Amongst too high, he's got 3 yards per out run, a 30% targets per out run, and 32 first read target share. Again, zone, same thing. 29 targets per out run, 3 yards per out run, 29 first read target share. I mean, this is a guy that with just 6+ targets in his career is over his last 8 to 12 games, averaging 77 yards per game, and he missed back-to-back opportunities just once. I'm going to bank on that not happening again here. I see a lot of people mentioning Debo in the comments. Is that a thing? Is he returning home here, I guess, to Miami? If Debo wants to show me a sign of life, I guess that would be cool. I'm going to bet on the receiver with talent in this ballgame.
That was an unnecessary swing at the end.
Dude fucking sucks.
Toast.
I just played a little bit of a fun bet. I played Raheem Mostert to score an anytime touchdown at plus 450. Obviously, San Francisco's defense is really good, and they've been a little bit more healthy, but they have allowed 19 rushing touchdowns so far this year, which is good for 27th in the NFL. And as we know, this is kind of a revenge spot for Mostert. So at plus 450, I got it at. I sprinkled $40 on it just for fun.
I mean, I could see nice. McDaniels giving Mostert the revenge look against his old team. And by the way, McDaniels' old team as well.
Oh, true. Touche.
So, yeah, nice. I could see the revenge angle there from Mostert. I don't hate that. All right, let's get that up on the screen so everyone can see.
I'm being a real clown today. 1 second.
Where'd that go? You just did it. There we go. Mostert plus 450.
Sensational.
He plays for the other color. All right.
You know, everybody know what I meant. Dolphins. He still bleeds red.
It's time for the Raiders. Lock City here.
Yeah, Toast. Spit it.
Toast made everyone a believer. Toast.
I heard about your speech last night. It only rivals Chauncey Billups' speech, I was told.
Really?
Toast is on the Raiders, and I am too. But I just want everyone to know Toast is on it first, and I reluctantly hopped onto the Raiders side. No, I'm just kidding. It is a good matchup for the Raiders. The Jags are terrible. Mac Jones is trash. But it's actually, I don't think people realize some of these bad teams, you just get classified as bad, and there are opportunities for them to play some decent football. And I think Aiden O'Connell falls under that category. Is we've kind of just all brushed Aiden O'Connell off as a bust, right? He's bad. Hasn't really given the most opportunities, and he's very, very clearly head and shoulders better than the other options they have here. I mean, Minshew was bad. Want to talk about bad quarterback play? Go watch some Gardner Minshew tape from this season. He was awful. Aiden O'Connell is significantly better than Gardner Minshew is right now. Not to mention the Jags run a ton of man coverage. Aiden O'Connell actually has excellent numbers against man coverage, like top 5 in the NFL. Granted, only 27 dropbacks this year against man coverage. Super small sample size. But he's completing like 80% of his passes, 9.3 yards per attempt. He's got great numbers against man coverage. This Jacksonville secondary runs nothing but man. Well, I shouldn't say nothing but man. They run their first or second in the NFL in man frequency, and they're terrible. They're terrible against the pass. It's like if there was ever a beautiful spot for Aiden O'Connell, it's right here at home against a Jags defense that doesn't pressure the passer, against a Jags defense that runs man coverage, against a Jags defense that isn't good. So, like, this is a beautiful spot for Aiden O'Connell. If there was ever a spot for Aiden O'Connell to have a real nice game throwing the ball, it's here. I also think the Raiders should be able to run the ball a little bit in this game. Most of the season was spent with the Raiders having a banged up offensive line. They got their starting 5 out there. Not saying the Raiders have any sort of rushing attack to fear, but if you look at the year, the Raiders are like dead last in yards per carry, dead last in rushing success rate. That's not accurate. I mean, since they got their offensive line back, they're probably closer to like 19th, 20th, 21st. Like, they're not the worst rushing attack in the league anymore. So I actually think the Raiders can run the ball a little bit too. And on the other side, I mean, it's Mac Jones. What else do you need to know, really?
Bingo.
I forget what the stat was, but oh my God, I think it's on like attempts of like 20 plus yards or something. I don't know if he has a completion yet this year, and I'm pretty sure it's all intercept. I mean, he is an abomination to
but Mac Jones loves himself some Mac Jones, though. Have you seen him play lately? Holy!
I'll tell you what, the kid's got moxie. He's got moxie. He's got moxie for days. Skill, none, but moxie, holy shit, he's got that in spades. Yeah, so in this game, I said that he doesn't like to throw it deep. He does not like to throw it past 20 yards. What he does like to do is he likes to throw it 7 yards. And last week, my lord, was he throwing it to one man. He was throwing it to Brenton Strange. We're trying to tame Strange again this week, folks. We tried to tame Strange earlier this year, and it absolutely sucked.
You say we're trying to tame Strange?
We were trying to tame Strange, yes. And the problem with trying to tame Strange early in the year was the fact that Trevor Lawrence just couldn't throw the football. I mean, the dude was one of the most inaccurate quarterbacks I've ever seen. But Mac Jones, when you're throwing it 4 yards, it's actually rather easy to be accurate. And I think that we have a fantastic matchup here. So Strange last week, he was a guy who saw 12 targets. He nabbed 11 of those and converted them into 73 yards. That was his first game without Gabe Davis, without Christian Kirk, without Evan Ingram. His first read target share in that game was 35%. I mean, we are talking about some of the highest marks in the league being along those lines, 35%. So Press Taylor was actively scheming up looks for him. Now he's going to face a Raiders defense that over their last 7 games are allowing 90.1 yards per game, 11 targets per game, and 8 receptions per game to opposing tight ends. That is by far the most in each category to opposing tight ends. I mean, even Kyle Pitts, a guy with virtually no usage, was 5 yards from clearing his mark last game in a game where Kirk Cousins completed 11 passes, for Christ's sakes. So I really like the look for Brenton Strange here. And Brenton Strange is just a guy who needs opportunity. With 3+ receptions, he's 3-2 to the over in his career, averaging 48 yards per game. And all 3 of those overs, he hit 50+ yards. So I took his regular line, and then I also put a half unit on the 50+ at plus 182. We're taming it.
We're taming the Strange.
Taming it. If you could, so I'm not next to Prop Beaver on the screen, unfortunately. Otherwise, it would read Little Strange, because give me Cam Little over 1.5. Minus 125. This is a banger, guys. This is everything you dream of.
Okay, let me write this banger down.
Everything you dream of. Don't be confused the fact that he looks like he's 12 years old. Seriously looks like he's 12. He is. The Raiders have given up the 3rd most field goals in the NFL. They've given up 15 attempts in 4 of the last 5 games overall, because one game they gave up 0. Koo just kicked 5 against them last week. Big reason is the last 3 games, the red zone defense has actually been pretty good. The 4th best red zone defense for the Raiders in the last 3 games. Jags offense, it's the Mac Jones show. We've already talked about it. Mac Jones loves himself some Mac Jones. He, again, you don't always need talent. Sometimes, like Prop Beaver said, you just need some moxie, and he's got it. Last 3 games, they've done decent. They've called Mac Jones trash. He's been okay lately. They had 421 total yards against the Jets, 4 field goal attempts, 373 against Houston with 3 field goal attempts. Brian Thomas has been playing lights out, helping them move the ball. He's got a great connection with Mr. Moxie. Field goal numbers this year, 22 for 24 on field goals. His longest kick is 59 yards. He's got the leg. I like Cam Little. All he needs is 2 field goals. He's been crushing this. I like him to get the job done again.
All right, let's move on to the next game.
No, let me spit my piece on the Raiders. Thank you.
I thought you went first. My bad.
I thought you went first. Wow.
Yeah, but he like passed the ball. I gave it to him and he passed the ball.
I mean,
no,
I
you
forgot.
just didn't stop talking, and it's your show. You got 108,000 people. I wasn't going to interrupt you. I really can't add much. I just wanted to point out, and it's something that I look at a lot in college basketball, and it doesn't really apply always in the NFL, but right in this one, I felt it was right. First and foremost, I fade Mac Jones every single week as I possibly can. Not to mention he's 6-17 ATS as an underdog in his career. But I understand that the Raiders are bad and they're tanking and stuff, but look at the last 10 games that the Raiders have played. Broncos, Steelers, Rams, Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins, Broncos, Chiefs, Bucks, Falcons. You could argue that the Rams and the Falcons are the two worst teams that they've possibly seen over the last 10 weeks. So this is going to be a significant step down in class. And you're getting your number one quarterback in Aiden O'Connell back. I think Brock Bowers has a really good day today because Jacksonville has really struggled to contain tight ends today or over the year. I really like the Raiders today. I just wanted to point out that the teams that the Raiders have played over the last 10 weeks and how much of a step down in competition this is.
That's actually a great point. And when Lindy did come on for the Monday show, he said that the Falcons and the Raiders were the two teams that led the NFL in strength of schedule. So there you go.
Thank you.
Next.
Dang, that's a tough schedule.
Bucks, Cowboys, Dallas +4. I'm on the Bucks in this one. I laid the 4. I also took the Bucks team total over. That's the way I played this one. I didn't write down my notes for this one, to be honest. But if I remember correctly, Cowboys have no Diggs. There's some question marks for the Cowboys at linebacker. Vigil's questionable. Kendricks is questionable. Micah Parsons is even questionable with the illness. Keep in mind they just lost Overshawn as well. The matchup for the Bucks offense is pretty simple for me. What is the strength of this Cowboys defense? It's the pass rush, right? It has been for a couple months now. Well, Overshawn's gone, who's been a great piece for them, rushing the passer. Micah Parsons is dealing with an illness. We don't know if he's going to play. Now, I think he is going to play, but the Cowboys pass rush a little bit hobbled. They're missing a piece, plus Micah Parsons might not be 100%. Who knows how many snaps he sees. But also, want to know who's first in the NFL in pressure rate allowed? The Bucs offensive line. They're great at keeping Baker Mayfield protected, and if they're able to just limit the Cowboys pass rush, which I think they can, I'm not saying they're taking the Cowboys pass rush out of the game, but if they're able to keep the Cowboys at a pressure rate 30% or below, I don't see where the stops come from here for Dallas, because Tampa Bay should be able to run the ball no problem. Dallas run defense is bad as it is, and like I just said, their two inside linebackers, Vigil and Kendricks, are both questionable. So I don't see where the stops come from here for Dallas. I think the Tampa Bay can run the ball. I think Tampa Bay can throw the ball. On the other side, I also think the Bucs defense is going to play pretty well. Dallas has looked better offensively. They've actually been running the ball a little bit, but the Bucs have been playing lockdown defense against the run. I mean, the last 4 games, they're allowing like 3.5 yards per carry or something crazy. They've played questionable competition, to be fair. They've been playing teams that don't really run the ball. But I don't know. Maybe the Cowboys could run the ball a little bit in the game, but Cooper Rush is terrible at home in Dallas, as Prop Beaver's about to tell you. But yeah, I'm on the Bucs team total over here.
Just to go off that Bucs team total, a crazy stat here. Bucs are averaging the most points in the NFL on the road, 31.6. Cowboys giving up the most points per game at home, 33.4. It is a dream matchup for a team total. But my best bet, I'm not on it. I don't know why. After I just said that, I don't have a reason.
What am I doing?
I don't have a reason.
You fumbled that one.
Yeah, thank you. But it's a great stat, huh? No, really, my best bet is Bucky Irving. I don't know what we're doing with his lines. I got it at 50.
What did you get it at? Because I tried to bet it, and it's like
I got it at 56.5 on BetMGM, but this line was moving quick. It's been moving a lot, and I would take. I mean, he's probably going to get 70+ yards. This is a ladder spot. I really do not understand it. Bucky is a stud. He's over in 4 of the last 5, but let's just say it. He's over in 4 straight. He got hurt early in the game that he didn't. Flying over 73, 88, 152, 117, 12+ rush attempts in those 4 straight games now. 40 rush attempts in the last 2 games. I mean, this guy is the bell cow now for this team. Average rush yards per attempt, 5.1 yards, crushing it. No worse than a 5.6 yards per attempt average in the last 4 games. This
Jesus Christ.
To the O-line, he's just running like crazy. In the last 4 games, averaging 16 carries for 107.5. Why are we getting a line near 60? Doesn't make sense. Plus, he gets this in like 1 carry. Longest rush last three of the last 4 games, 56, 43, and 54. He has made some big plays. Cowboys 17th most rush yards to running backs, 4th most yards per attempt though at 4.8. So they have struggled. And so, yeah, just overall the volume and his big splash plays, I don't see how he doesn't go over this. And again, he could get close to this in just 1 carry. So I love Bucky Irving, obviously the Bucs team total. And someone in the chat asked about Rico Dowdle. The line is 71.5 rush yards. I would probably stay away. I kind of like the line seems right. I know he's been getting a lot of carries, but if the Bucs pull away too, the run game will go away for Dallas. But I kind of like the Bucs run defense. But the line seems good on that one. So.
Beaver, do you have a play in this game? I have 3. Okay. Both kickers over kicking points. Chase McLaughlin, I'm dead serious.
It's a kickoff.
I'm dead serious, dude. Chase McLaughlin over 7.5 kicking points, -114. Brandon Aubrey over 7.5 kicking points, -114. Mike Evans over 78.5 receiving yards. I'm going to continue to play Mike Evans in the last couple of weeks of the season because I think Baker's going to feed him. We saw that last week as well. Brandon Aubrey is one of the best kickers, if not one of the best kickers at home, if not the best kicker at home in the league. And Chase McLaughlin has been an absolute money printer for us over and over. So these guys talked about how Tampa Bay should be able to move the ball against Dallas. And if Dallas gets anywhere over the 50, they're in field goal range at this point with Aubrey. So I think they're also juiced up to probably 120-ish now, which gives me even more confidence that we're probably going to see a lot of kickers tonight. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see a whole bunch of field goals, even if that's why I do kicking points, because you don't have to worry about the field goals. So,
all right, let's do the community parlay.
Hey, Dickwad, I got to play. So 1 second. I'm just trying to
real quick while you're pulling that up. Baker Mayfield said he's actually thinking about Mike Evans' 1,000-yard season more than he is. So I mean, they want to get him the ball, get him that 1,000 yards.
I mean, last week was so free, it's not even funny.
Yeah, so for this one, I got CeeDee Lamb over rushing yards here. 1 second, I'm trying to get this freaking thing out of the way. No, I said over rushing yards. I'm all out of sorts here. No, I got CeeDee Lamb over 6.5 receptions. Might be the briefest summer you get out of me all day, maybe all year. 0.44 targets per route run with Cooper Rush against the blitz. That is absolutely insane. The Bucs, they blitz at one of the highest rates in the league. I actually saw something that they're blitzing at like a 50% rate over the last 5 weeks or something like that. That's fucking nuts. We saw on full display last week against a blitz-heavy Carolina team, 13 targets, 9 receptions, only played 70% of the snaps in a blowout. Could see even more here. And this Tampa Bay team, they're allowing a ton of receptions to wide receiver ones. Ladd McConkey, he went under his total, but look at the previous 5 receivers since week 9. Jacoby Myers, 7, he went over. Adam Thielen, 8, he went over. Malik Neighbors, 6, he went over. Juwan Jennings, 7. D-Hop, 8. So the last 5 or 6 wide receiver ones that face this Bucs team have went over their total. CeeDee Lamb gets targeted at a rate that is 8% higher than A.J. Brown against blitzes. That is the highest in the league. I think that he's going to clear this mark. I know I'm a bit afraid of Cooper Rush at home. Dude stinks at home compared to when he's on the road. I don't know what it is about road rush. Guy's just a different beast. But due to the fact that the Bucs are such a good road offense and the Cowboys are such a bad home defense, should be trailing in this game anyways. And yeah, should see plenty of those targets.
Hit the song.
Community parlay, the parlay we bet, yeah. Community parlay is for the community. We come unite, making a parlay. Yeah.
All right, you want to do the underdog?
Yes, sir. You want to pull
you guys,
up?
Is your underdog hot streak still rolling? Or you?
No, yesterday, Joe Mixon put an end to it, that little rat. So
that little rat.
That little rat. I would actually blame it more on CJ Stroud and his interception issue, but that's another thing. So
shout out to you, Beaver, for bringing back Dickwad. I haven't heard that in like 15 years.
Thank you.
Agree.
Yeah. So in terms of the underdog, we're on a bit of a cold streak. Actually, this week has kind of sucked. I think I'm like 1-6 this week. It's definitely been of a tough stretch, but we're looking to bounce back this Sunday. I like the slate. We got 5 picks for the underdog. We got Caleb Williams higher than 28.5 rushing yards. Chiggy, the man, higher than 26.5 receiving yards. Brenton Strange, higher than 37.5 receiving yards. MHJ, higher than 53.5. And Burrow, lower than 27.5. Those are all my favorite plays of the day. Obviously, we have more. If you'd like to replace one of those legs and want to be a new customer, you can with Baker Mayfield higher than a half total yard. And if you are not a customer and would like to become one, you can in one of these yellow states right here using the very simple promo code BET, B-E-T. It's 3 letters. Y'all know the deal.
First leg of the community parlay is the Bengals money line while they're voting. Steve, want to tell them where they can find your stuff?
YouTube, just a bet outside, give out baseball, NBA, NFL every single day. Have a lot of fun doing it. Give a lot of stats out to help you guys out with your own research, and also on Twitter as well. But yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a really fun first NFL season with you guys.
Yeah, fun year. We broke the viewership record, which is cool.
Rather goated.
Eagles money line is the second leg here.
What was the first leg?
Bengals.
Okay.
we got Bengals and Eagles so far. Where did I leave off? Do they like 49ers or Dolphins? I think they like 49ers.
I believe Niners.
Jags or Raiders. Oh, man. I don't know who they liked in that one. That was like a pretty close poll. I'm just going to put Jags and Raiders in the vote because neither of them are going to win anyway. Jags, Raiders. They're all going to vote for Bills money line over the Patriots.
No, I mean, yeah.
That's what everyone's going to vote for, even though it adds zero value to a parlay.
And if you're just watching this and missed some of this video, just to kind of summarize, Toast gave us out a promise, and Prop Beaver put his family on the Giants. So
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
Toast literally said, I promise.
Yeah, that worked. I'm okay with that. Yeah. So
Bills money
go ahead.
line. No, go ahead.
A couple people asked me about college basketball. The big game of the day is Seton Hall, Georgetown. I lean Seton Hall. The price for Georgetown is a little bit out of my price range, especially coming off that huge win against Creighton. I do think it's a little bit of a down spot, especially if you have Seton Hall coming off of 3 straight losses to really pretty decent teams, and those are close games. But 3 games I did bet under 141 in Montana State TCU. I also bet Utah State plus 1.5, and I also bet Utah State's plus 5.5. It's at 6.5 now. I do not care. St. Mary's is not a good basketball team. They haven't played well in weeks. I don't care that it's Utah State's first road game and they don't have their point guard. Doesn't matter. This game should be close. Both these teams can play at a crawl. And Missouri State plus 1.5 as well against UCSB. So that's about it.
All right. And the community parlay is Bengals money line, Eagles money line, Bills money line, Bucks money line plus 180. Bunch of aggressive, heavy hitters out here with a plus 184.
You know what I noticed, Kyle? There's no Lions in there. The people respect our play.
Love it.
Whether they will say it
they
or
know,
not.
they know what's about to happen.
They know what's good.
They know what's about to happen.
They know it's Caleb season. Bear down, baby.
Bears
Bear
outright.
down.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. As always, hit me up in the Discord if you need me. I'll be home working all day. So if you need me, hit me up in there. Good news. I think the Sauce Network app is coming back. I have a call this week about it. A lot of people have complained that has no longer been active for the last couple of months. So I think the Sauce Network app is coming back. I'll let you guys know. Everyone, have a good Sunday. Bet responsibly.
Stay goated. Best of luck. Redemption.